Hello and welcome back to building a space elevator again. As you can see, we did quite a bit with our space elevator. Should have really called it monorail to space, if anything. Maybe I'll change the title. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But it pretty much is a horizontal elevator that is going to space. Although I'm not choosing the vertical upwards. I'm going more horizontal, straight towards it. That's why it's kind of like a monorail in a sense. Just to see how that's going to work, especially with hover engines. So let's discuss what we had done in today's agenda. All right, so first off, we finished up, well, sort of finished up the control tower, camera control station. And instead of just rotating the helm and the antenna, I decided to just rotate the whole entire top piece. So the whole entire top piece actually does rotate, and it's connected to a piping system and everything like that with an advanced rotor. So we get some air tightness and everything like that going on there. Here we have a button to stop it from moving towards the sun. Because we have an issue here where we couldn't really fix the door situation. So we have a problem there. So unfortunately, we do have to control it once in a while just to get the doors situated. So right now, I can't really get in there. I haven't really found a solution to that just yet. Except for maybe making some kind of doorway up top here, which I should probably just do that. But basically, here's our control seat, and it has a camera on here as well. So then that way it could follow the sun for no apparent reason. All right, so we're inside the helm, and as you can see here, we can freely move the whole entire top piece, control station right over there, and I can move the antenna, which I just kind of smashed into the tower. But I can move the whole entire tower left and right, and then the antenna up and down, so we can have that kind of fun little animation thing going. Really pointless, but it was just a fun little thing to do. And the control station doesn't really look that great. But it was just something fun to do. Unfortunately, the whole door situation is over here. Actually, no, it's not. It's the opposite way around. So we flip it over here, pointing this way. The hatch door will match it to another hatch door. That's how it's supposed to be. And I was trying to play around with the hatch doors. Not the hatch doors, the hangar doors. But it wouldn't let me stick it on there for some reason. Except for a few spots. But it was limited in placement for some reason. So couldn't really do anything with it. So I just got to line it up here to go hatch door to hatch door. To kind of get in and out. Of course, we can put more hatch doors just in case that situation happens again. But that only happened because I clicked on having it follow the sun. So right there, that's why it moved a little bit. But very pointless in terms of having it moving around anyways. But it does help with the camera views and everything like that. So I do need to add a camera to multiple things eventually. So we have nicer camera views as we start building other things. But of course, today's main agenda was to make and start the space elevators or monorails, I guess rail we can call it, or column or whatever. It's going to be more of a rail system in this sense, because we are going horizontal and we are sticking with that kind of almost like a 3x3 with a little bit of a difference. So it's kind of getting started with the station or platform. We're going to have to put a platform right around here and have it all connected to this rail system. So this rail system is going to take a lot of materials to make, obviously. But I already spent all my materials on this Inchworm welding system. Obviously, I could have done it a different way, but I did want to stick with the Inchworm look because it does work out pretty well. And it's a nice, slow process to weld everything together. Another option would have been wheels. As we moved it along. We could use hover engines as well for this, obviously, but we don't have enough materials for it just yet, so we're not going to go with that. We'll stick with the Inchworm technique for now, and eventually if we have to rebuild this whole thing to hover engines or wheels or whatever the case is, we will do that at that time. But for now, we'll just go with the Inchworm technique. And the Inchworm technique is going to be based on 4 pistons right over here, which is going to stretch out forward, lock these landing gears, unlock this, and then reverse the piston so it does an inchworm kind of deal over there. So it should look something like this. As you see, the front is extending forward. And then once it's fully extended, we're going to lock in that front circle-y thingy over there. And then we're going to hit reverse. So it's going to grab the back piece going forward. And that's the inchworm technique with the welders here. And the welders are able to weld up everything that we need to weld up in terms of the light armor blocks, the pipes, and everything like that as well. So we have a good thing there going. Right now, it's still connected to the grid as we're charging up the batteries. So we actually kind of wait for that to happen before we move forward with it. I mean, we should just put them all on recharge, but I left that on auto for now. But with the platform itself, right back here, up to this mark, is going to be 100 blocks forward up to pretty much this marking right here. So this is the 101 block, or 101st block. And that's connected to a piping system that's going to go down into the ground. So just in case something snaps in between, it's still being held up on the ground. Although when it's broken, it does have to be merge blocked in that sense. And there's going to be a connector here as well. So then that way, if we need more materials through the Inchworm welding machine, we're going to be able to connect it right over here with the connector. So that's what that's for. And it's going to help us reload everything we need to reload at every 100th or 101st block. I haven't really lined it up correctly to see if it's going to connect at the right moments. And I think we have to play around with the pistons a little bit just to get that connected. Although if we did wheels or hover engines with some thrusters, that would have been a little bit easier to maneuver to get it perfect. So I might change that up once we have more materials for hover engines or thrusters and everything like that. This is just a little cheaper because this is just basically steel or iron for the most part. The hover engines does require gravity components, so that is going to be your gold and silver, although we do have some, not too many. And then for thrusters, it's just a lot of metal grids, which we have a decent amount, but not too much. And as you see here, we are pretty much out of materials. We have a lot of gravel for other reasons, but yeah, we're pretty much out of materials. I did have to get a lot of cobalt, nickel, silicon, and everything like that just to reload up on all our mats. But as you see here, one cargo container here is not much at all. Let me go to my large one actually. So let's just throw everything in the large container. All right, so aside for stuff that's in my welder and also in the large cargo container of the welding inchworm, this is all we got right now. And it's a decent chunk of stuff, but it's not enough for thrusters. Well, maybe. But we'll hold off on it. But we're really, really running out of mats, and especially steel plates. We're down to close to a little less than 1,000 of it. And yeah, we don't have lots of mats. So building the inchworm welder was probably not the best idea to start with because we have no more mats to even weld up this platform. But it's a start, so hopefully that all kind of helps out. And I think we're going to project from here somehow the next 100th block, and then from there more 100 blocks or so forth. Or I'm going to have to find a way to connect all of them and make it as long as possible and make it project pretty decently and see how far we get. And based on our calculations here, if we stand right over here, we're going to miss the moon. And it was a little difficult to kind of calculate exactly how we're going to hit the moon. So I decided against it and just build it straightforward until we get close to the moon. Maybe build a station over there and then make an actual vertical elevator to the moon to the stations. That way we connect it that way. So we don't necessarily need to connect it directly. I was playing around with the laser antenna trick with the laser antenna grid framework mod. So you can see the laser. Unfortunately, the laser actually quits after a little bit. But it does show you directly where you are, what your angle is. And my angle was slightly off, and it looks like I needed to be pretty much up this high or more just to be equal to right over there at the edge of the moon. So that definitely didn't really work out, because that's going to be way too tall to get up there. So I decided against it and just throw out that monorail forward. And if it has to be made, if we have to make a station nearby, we'll make a station nearby in a different type of elevator to get to the moon that way. I do realize this also, that we might run into the ground right over here too. So if we keep building it straight forward, we may be a little too low. So we might have to grind down or drill out a whole big spot just for the monorail to get through, or the elevator to get through. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but it does seem like it may work that way. So yeah, other than that, the rail system itself is technically not really 3x3 as you see here. So it's 3 across, 3 down, but we are missing this block here and this block here. So two blocks are missing, and that's just to make sure this whole piping system on the rail can kind of sneak through. So that's why it's going to be built kind of like this. And of course, the Inchworm itself is based off of 3 large cargo containers, a bunch of landing gears gripped onto the rail. We have our welders from top, bottom, and the sides. So that should take care of all sides. And I tested it out by putting mats in there and using it all up. And you'll see here, he's got the pipes, he's got the steel plates and everything done, or light armor blocks, which I should have used heavy armor blocks instead, but should be fine. Especially with hover engines, it's never going to really touch it anyway, so we should be okay in that front. But yeah, that's the current build. The next step is get a lot more materials and a little bit of inventory management, and automate this thing as well, because right now it's all manual. I haven't really set any of it up yet. It's, again, still not even disconnected from the grid itself. But we do need to automate this so that the front extends, reverses, landing gears unlock and locks and all that. And then we just find a way to make sure it connects to the connectors, get the more materials as we keep going. Pretty much it's going to be a long haul from there, but definitely need to find more resources. Of course, if you enjoyed this episode, hit that like and subscribe button, drop a comment down below, and also I'll see you guys next time. Bye.